Alright guys, welcome in. This is Hanging with Dave. We're on episode 60 this week. Woohoo! I made it for 60 weeks. I only missed a couple. That ain't too bad, I don't think. This is a little live stream that I do every week here on YouTube. Kind of just answer the questions, comments been left on the videos for the past week or so. Any questions, comments, or concerns, if anybody's watching me live, I'll answer them as best that I can. Then I'll kind of go through what's coming up on the channel and maybe some of the new products I got, if I got anything came in this week, which I did this week. Just a chance to kind of hang out with me and find out about the channel and any kind of questions you guys may have. Be more than willing to throw them over there in chat, and I'll answer them the best that I can. A couple of disclaimers I throw out every weekend. I do enjoy me a cold beer while I do this. So, cheers to y'all. I hope this weekend's finding you well. Hope you're doing good on this Saturday, whatever time it may be where you're at. So yeah, there is that. Number two, I am a truck driver by trade, so there may be a cuss word or a dirty word while I'm streaming here today. I try to keep that to a minimal and try not to do it too much, but it does slip from time to time. And some of my comments that I get ain't the cleanest, so yeah, I know there's one that has a wordy dart in it this week, so you may hear a cuss word or two. I hope it don't offend you too bad. If either one of them offend you, maybe you shouldn't be watching. It's your choice. I don't mean to sound mean or nasty about that, but it is what it is. When it comes to the overclocking questions, I get a lot of questions on my overclocking videos. I got these components, what can I get out of them? I got this RAM kit, what should my voltage be set at? I got this kind of cooling on my system. What should I be aiming for as far as CPU overclocking, or what's the best settings for this? What's the best settings for that? Even if I had the exact same components that you do, which most likely I don't, they're going to overclock differently. I know you all heard, silicon lottery. Just depends on the components that make up the component you're talking about. And they all overclock differently. They all do that kind of stuff a little bit differently. But I do answer the best that I can, or kind of give you my opinion on that as well. I ain't very good with the English language, so there is that. So if I butcher your names while you're talking in chat or on the comments, you have to forgive me for that, or you'll be mad at me for a long time, or you'll forgive me, whichever way the situation may be. I understand either way. I'm thinking we'll see how long this goes today, but I may jump in and do some playing of Cyberpunk 2077 later on, after we get through the comments and questions and whatnot. I had a couple of different things I was going to do for this week, kind of mix things up a little bit instead of just Q&A. I was going to do a PC port picker list, but of course everybody knows the components is outrageous right now, as far as prices and whatnot. You're paying 2-3 times as much as what you should be if you can find the components in the stock. I actually looked up my saved PC port picker list for my $600 build that I did last month. And to get them ports, are all actually in stock, but you're paying $750 for a $600 build. RAM prices are starting to creep up some, which had a pretty big effect on that. GPU prices, you're paying extra $7,500 for the GPU. You're paying extra $75 or so for the CPU than what you should be paying for. It all adds up over time. A little bit, $20-$30 here and there. It all adds up. Of course, CPUs and GPUs is the biggest thing right now for the prices. So I kind of marked that off the list. Again, I like to get into tweaking some computer systems and whatnot, you know, which, like I said last week, I'm not too sure on what the legal standings would be on that. If I went online and just found computers to tweak, or, you know, give my opinions on the builds and the pricings of them. I thought about doing that, but I looked at some on Facebook group, you know, that was either in my local area or it would be shipped to me. But like I said, because of the legal standings on that, I'm not too sure if I could do that or not. So I kind of crossed that off the list. So Cyberpunk 2077, playing into some of it. I figured it's going to be a pretty safe bet. This is a tech channel after all, you know, and PC gaming is what a lot of you's into. So playing a video game, I guess, wouldn't be too bad. I did stream Cyberpunk 2077 there, what was it, a couple weeks ago now, I guess. It didn't do real good for the channel, but it did. It has got some views, so maybe I'll get into that here in a little bit. Just an idea that running through my head. And again, you know, it all depends on what the time frame looks like and how long it takes to do the Q&A here at the beginning. I don't want to mix it up too much, but I want to put some kind of variety into the show instead of just doing the same old, same old. Before I get started this morning, you know, I want to thank y'all for the support. I want to thank y'all for watching the videos, liking the videos, sharing the videos. You guys that leave comments, you know, I know a lot of you guys will literally come in and watch the videos, even though you really don't want to know about it, just to help support me, and I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. You know, I'm trying to get a little bit better with my videos. I'm trying to get a little bit better with my editing skills. That's one thing I like to know. You know, last week's video, I started the time lapse of the build process while I went through the parts. You know, I like to have a little bit of feedback on that, see what you guys think about me doing something like that. And just trying to find my own style of doing videos, I guess, pretty much. So yeah, but to start out the show, I'm going to jump over here and start going through these questions and comments. Like I said, you know, I appreciate the comments that was left. You know, it kind of gives me something to do here on Saturday morning. So yeah, let me kick you over here to the desktop, and we'll see what kind of comments and questions and concerns we got this week going on. There we go. I hope y'all can read that. It looks pretty good in the preview window. Let's see here. We have Yeti just ate a dog, but it's actually alive 6 days ago. 5 reasons not to build a gaming PC now. Damn, it feels like May of 2020 was just yesterday. That getting PC ports around this time was all about luck. Always been checking Newegg, and you might just get the power supply you want. Yeah, back in May, it was kind of hard for power supplies for a reasonable price, which they seem to be a little bit better on pricing right now than most components. Right now, the biggest thing is the CPUs and GPUs. But even now, at the beginning of 2021, we're still fighting with parts and prices. You know, I've been actually looking to put together another budget build. I actually got another one sold already if I can come up with the parts for a reasonable price. But I can't get selling a computer for $600 and charging somebody $800, $900 for it because the price is so inflated. But with that being said, I can't afford to take a loss on the sale of it either. So yeah, the prices is still pretty nuts. You know, stock's still down. Everybody was, you know, a lot of people were saying that would be improved here in the first quarter of 2021. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think we'll probably finish out 2021 with the prices and stock availability the way they are right now. But time will tell on that story. Let's see here. We got Scooped. He left two different comments on how to dedicate more RAM to the Ryzen integrated graphics on the Gigabyte B450. Both of them was on the same video. What version of BIOS is it? F50? When I did that video, it was actually F2. It was the one that was shipped with the motherboard. Mine is the same board, but I can't allocate more than 2 gigs of RAM. Can you help me? I want to be able to allocate more. You ain't going to be able to allocate more than what the BIOS version will let you allocate. And it depends on how much RAM you're also using. That's kind of determined by the motherboard. I mean, if you're on one of the higher BIOSes, you may be able to go back to one of the earlier BIOSes. Like I said, you know, that was the original one that came with the motherboard, which was like F2. I believe Gigabyte went in and changed that for reasons. But I'm not too sure on how you get up past 2 gigs, because that is controlled by the BIOS. We have Matt 00 5 days ago. How to update the BIOS on the Gigabyte B450 DS3H motherboard. He says, thank you so much. Well, you're welcome so much. Appreciate it. We have Snake 4 days ago. The Cooler Master Box Q300L build guide. He says, bro, the temperature is any good in this case? Yeah, once I put in the fans, I think it was 2 fans in the front of it and 1 in the back in that case for that particular customer. And with the ports that it was running, which was a 2400G with the RX 588 gig card, temperature was fine. GPU, CPU temperatures was well under check. I know that case got a bad rep about airflow and this and that. But as long as you ain't going too high end in it, you know, I mean, it is like a $40 case. So it's made for more of a budget build than it is anything serious or anything, you know, if you're going with anything real hot components, I'd look elsewhere. But for a budget build, yeah, them temps is fine. I know a lot of people was asked about that one. And the airflow ain't quite the best in it, but like I said, you know, as long as you ain't going to put a 3950X or anything like that. Resolve the Great. Morning, Dave. Morning to you. Glad you could join me this morning. But yeah, you know, the airflow in that case seems to be pretty good. You know, if the temperature wasn't right in it, I wouldn't have sold the system. I'd have found another case. But the case was, the temperature was good with the 3 fans in it that I threw into it. Seemed to be pretty happy with it. The guy that actually bought that build, I haven't heard back from him, so apparently there hasn't been no complaints with the temperature or anything in it. Let's see, this next one, I don't even know if I'll even try to pronounce this one or not. Esqueeny FN, a screen fiend, I guess. Gigabyte B450 DS3H motherboard. Did I brick my motherboard? So does this mean my hard drive is corrupt? No, in that video, whenever just with that one BIOS version, for some reason, it seemed like it disconnected it quit using the SATA ports. Sorry about that, guys. But once I disconnected that SATA cable from it, it worked fine. I don't know why it did that or whatnot. I updated the BIOS again to a newer version than what that BIOS was, and it did fine. That don't mean your hard drive is corrupt. That just means that the BIOS wasn't recognizing the SATA ports on that one, and for some reason it was stopping the system from booting up. We have FS Chris. Just the video I was looking for, and it is the perfect time. Thank you, brother. I was on the ASRock B450M Pro 4 motherboard unboxing and overview. Well, thank you. I hope you got some useful information out of that video. You know, when I do them unboxing videos, especially with motherboards, it's kind of hard to talk too long on the motherboards. You know, I try to point out the main connectors on them and whatnot, kind of give you an idea of what they offer. Kind of look at the VRMs. You know, I don't get real close to them, but you know, I do kind of look at them, give you my opinion on what I think they're going to be worth. But thank you for the comment, appreciate that. We have Joseph Shaw, I guess we pronounce that. how to update the Asus BIOS, Asus Prime X470 Pro. I have the same board. Each time I try updating, I get the error. This is not a proper BIOS. Have any idea what I'm doing wrong? Any help? Yeah. Sounds like to me you're downloading the wrong BIOS for the motherboard. Because that motherboard, that X470 Pro, it does have a Wi-Fi version. It's got, I think there's a couple of different variants of the Pro version for the X470. You gotta make sure you're hitting the exact one. If your motherboard has Wi-Fi to it, or some other variant to it, and what mine does, you know, it will be different BIOSes. You're downloading the improper BIOS for your motherboard, is what pretty much it's saying. Let's see, what else do we got here? We have Nolan Incoing, I guess we pronounce that, how to update the BIOS on the B450. Good day, sir. Why is the orange light on my motherboard blinking? B450 MDS3H model, Ryzen 5 2600 1660 Super GPU. Thanks. Whenever I was using that motherboard, mine stayed on solid. I have no idea why your motherboard would be blinking that light. I'm assuming he says orange light. I'm assuming it's the one that runs down around the audio profile down there, around the back side of it. I'm not too sure on why that would be blinking. I really can't help you with that one. I've never seen mine blink. I've never had an issue with mine blinking. Sounds like it may be a connector or something that's nothing you can do about within the motherboard. The way the traces is, maybe one of the traces going to that light's broken or scraped or something. Maybe it's causing that. That'd be my best guess on that one. We have Perzavilla. How to overclock your aim on the Gigabyte B550M. Thank you, this worked great. You're welcome. This one here I threw into Google Translate, and I still don't know exactly what I was even looking at. This is the one I said it's got a cuss word in it. Because there's a whole conversation going on about this one. It says, what guys pay $75 dick? I don't know what he means by 75 dick, but and then the rest of these, there is one person down here somewhere in these comments. Of course, this is, I don't know what language this actually is. And most of them looks to be BS, especially with the KKKKKKK thing. I don't know what the meaning on that is. I don't know why he threw it in there, but it says save, KKKKK. Let's see, what else do we got here? Don't do that. Don't go to their channel. I don't need copyright strike. Let's see here. What else do we got here? There's a whole conversation going on. We are together. I don't know. I don't quite understand the question or the comment. I think it's in here the one that says it's okay, monitor, having an okay experience with it or something. This monitor is more beautiful than I imagined. I bought it without even looking right. So apparently they're talking about that monitor that is on the ViewSonic VA2759 SMH unboxing and overview. Save. I ain't too sure on what this one is. Salve on that one. I don't know. Whoops. Didn't do that one right. So far, KK. I guess he's happy with it so far. But yeah, I thank you guys for answering them and trying to help them out with whatever his question actually was. I mean, 75, depending on what their currency is, I mean, it's about $150 monitor, I believe, here in the U.S. I think that's about what that one goes for. So yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what his question was or how to answer that one, but okay. Let's see here. Resolve the Great on the Cougar MG120G gaming computer build for 2020 and 2021. Looking great, Dave. Well, thank you, the Great. Appreciate that. Like the comments. And we have Matthew here on the same video. He says, that's a sweet build, Dave. Well, thank you. Let's see. Then again on that same video, Sebastian Corti, I guess we pronounce that. Good build, waiting for the Q&A on Saturday. It's Saturday and it's Q&A time, buddy. Appreciate the comments. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. As far as that build goes, I did reuse the CPU and GPU out of the $900 build. Like I said, I've been looking for quite some time for CPUs and GPUs, and I just can't find nothing that's anything decent as far as price rise goes. So yeah, so I kind of use the same CPU and GPU out of the $900 build on that one. But I did want to do a build in that case. That's what I ended up doing. I did use different motherboard, different drives. I did put the what is it, Pure Loop 240 in it. I want to do some testing with that and whatnot. Well, I kind of use that as a test system for that Pure Loop's CPU cooler. And if you've seen the video on the unboxing of that, it's questioning the cables on it. The 3-pin fan header on it that controls the pump, it does connect to the motherboard, so the motherboard has control over the pump, which I like that a lot better than hooking up that SATA cable. The LED light, it ain't that big of a deal. It hooks to SATA. It just don't shut off as long as the power supply's got power going to it. It will shut off if you turn the system off. But yeah, I'm going to be doing some, I want to do some a little bit more content on that. Didn't do real good for the channel, but I think it's worth following up on. I like to try to give you guys as much information on the products that I have, and to be able to do that, I got to actually test the products. So, I'll bring you guys along for the ride on it. Who else do we got here? Steven Anderson, I guess we pronounce that. How to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B450M. No matter what I do, my RAM stays at 2133 megahertz, even though its advertised speed is 3200 megahertz. I tried doing exactly what you did, but it don't work for me. I'm not too sure on what to say. I mean, everything that I know about overclocking the RAM on the motherboard, I kind of put into that video. If it ain't helping you out, I'm not too sure on what to say. I don't know exactly how to help you anymore with that. And you tried exactly what I was doing, and my RAM was working all right, which kind of surprised me because of the RAM kit I had in it. But I'm not too sure on how to help you with that. Not without having the system on hand to actually do some testing myself. Patrick Callahan, how to overclock your RAM on the Asus Prime B550M Wi-Fi motherboard. Is there a table that shows all of the configuration settings for specific clock rates? Not that I know of. I wish someone would make one like that, but like I said at the beginning of the live stream, when it comes to overclocking, all your components are going to overclock a little bit different. Even if I had the same exact ports, there's just a silicon lottery on the components that make up the component you're trying to overclock. How does the motherboard select the values when it sees I've installed 3600 megahertz kit? That's actually saved within the RAM. Your motherboard actually reads it from the RAM kit. The RAM manufacturer actually programs them settings as far as cache latency and all that into the XMP or the DOCP settings, which is inside your RAM kit. It really ain't the motherboard. The motherboard is just reading the RAM. That's what your RAM manufacturer set as an XMP or DOCP. So it's pretty well dependent on the RAM kit that you have. In your video, when you do it manually, you grab the values that DOCP had selected. Is that the only way to obtain the values for CL, etc.? No, that ain't the only way to do it. But the XMP is set by the RAM manufacturer as far as your speeds go, as far as your time legacy goes, and all that. So, you know, even if it don't run at them settings, a lot of times, even though your DOCP don't work, you can put in them settings and they'll run. Even if you manually type them in compared to just hitting the one button. I can't explain that, but sometimes they do. A lot of times they actually do. But if not, it's still a good starting point. You can make adjustments from that point. There's actually some people on the web that's saying that, you know, if it's, they say you can get 3600 megahertz out, you can actually get up to 3800 megahertz. You know, it's just, to me, that's a good starting point, and that's what you should be aiming to get to, because that's what the RAM manufacturer says that RAM should be able to run at. And if it still ain't stable, you know, it just gives you a good starting point on where to adjust what. You know, you may want to adjust your voltage up a little bit more. You may want to cut back your timings. You know, depending on what they have at voltage set at. AMD says you can go up to 1.45 volts. And it don't matter really on the power supply or anything like that. Or your motherboard has a little bit to do with it, but I recommend staying about 1.35 volts. You know, it's a little bit under what AMD says, but still yet at 1.35 volts you should be able to get a pretty decent overclock. And especially when you're using a budget motherboard, which that Prime B550 ain't really a budget motherboard. I think when I bought that motherboard it was like $125 or $130 or something like that. And Asus is known for their overclock abilities. So you can probably be safe to get up to 1.4, 1.45 volts like they recommend. But as far as the configuration settings and some kind of table that shows that, you really can't do that because there's so much variance between the manufacturing processes. Linus Tech Tips, he's got a pretty good thing going on. I think it's his Discord server or something, but he has a lot of articles and stuff out that kind of gives you decent settings like that. I'm not really sure on how to find it or where to find it. You know, he gives you different ratings on what parts work best with what components and whatnot. Of course, he's got a whole team behind him, so yeah. And I've seen a lot of people refer back to his list. So maybe you check his site. I'm sure he's got a dedicated website to his YouTube channel by now. You know, maybe check his site for some kind of memory specifications for clocks or something, and see if yours shows up. But that'd be about the only place I'd know to even consider even looking. Let's see here. Who else do we got? We got El Grande Taurus. How to overclock your Ryzen 3600 on the B550 Wi-Fi. Thank you. This video made it easy for me to OC. I'm glad I could help you get that, get your CPU overclocked. We have Rage for Win 7 hours ago. How to overclock your RAM on the B450 MDS3H motherboard. I overclocked my Corsair Fringes LPX 16 GB DDR4 2666 MHz to 3000 MHz. Best voltage. I have a 500 watt PSU. Depends on what DOPC or the XMP says on that. That's probably about what I'd stick with. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, Verizon says you go up to 1.45 volts. I like to stick a little under that, so I usually go with about 1.35 volts. Corsair RAM, I really don't use them. I had someone comment quite a while ago now, but someone commented that Corsair told them that they wasn't validated to work with a Ryzen system. So I've really never used Corsair RAM on it. That's why I normally go with G-Skills RAM. You see me use a lot of G-Skills RAM. The Ripjaws 5 series. Within the years, what's it been, 3 years, 4 years since Ryzen's came out, it just seems to be more stable. It seems to be the better, you know, it's just more optimized for a Ryzen system. That's why I use them so much. I've actually got several kits of them laying around here. But it's just, you know, it's just convenient when you get RAM that you know that works with the Ryzen system. You know, it's easier to hit an XMP or DOCP setting and it works instead of having to go in and manually overclock it and worry about trying to find your best settings and, you know, doing the hard restarts and having to clear your CMOS and all that. It's just easier to know that you got RAM that works with the Ryzen system. But I want to thank y'all that's left comments this week. I want to thank y'all for watching the videos and for the support and all that good happy stuff. Yeah, but whoa, we got our first super chat. MT Cooler, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate it. You're the first super chat I've ever got on the channel. Appreciate that. Just dropping in to say hello from Montana. I've learned a lot from your videos in the past. Talk with my friends. I wish you a prosperous 2021. Well, thank you, buddy. Appreciate the $5. Appreciate that. Never had a super chat before, but thank you. Appreciate that. Rock on, LOL. Oh, I plan on rocking on, buddy. I ain't gonna give up anytime soon. Cheers to you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Got my first super chat. Imagine that. Thank you. Appreciate that. I wonder what them things look like when they came up. But that's going to pretty well wrap it up for the comments this week, it looks like. I've refreshed it a few times there. Don't look like we've got anything else. So yeah, that's going to pretty well wrap it up. Coming up on the channel this week, I have the ASRock B450M Pro 4 motherboard. I do go into the BIOS, updating the BIOS on that one, which I threw a little disclaimer out at the beginning of that video, and I feel that it's necessary now with the Ryzen 5000 series launching. And just like I do on overclocking videos. You know, this is a tutorial, this is a how-to, I'm showing you how to do it, but I hold no responsibility if you mess up your components. It actually came in from a viewer that wanted me to do that particular video, Blueberry Pie 157. And with the Ryzen 5000 series launching, you know, when the video goes live here this Wednesday, I kind of break it down to you. But, you know, if you're running a 2000 series processor or older, they don't want you to go beyond a certain point. Because it may hurt your components. Your system may quit running, you know. You can't flash it back by what the BIOS is saying. Once you go up to a certain number, you can't flash it back to the earlier version. You know, this is because of the memory capacity on these motherboards for the BIOS. You know, there's only so much memory that they have, so much memory that they can use. So yeah, I'll try to drop in more. The YouTube algorithm doesn't put you on my feed very often. Stupid algorithm. Yeah, it is a stupid algorithm. I've had other members say that they don't get the notifications when I go live. But I'm usually live Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. here in my local time. I'm not sure where you're from, MT Cooler, but Corn, yeah. But anyways, you know, I'm here usually 11 a.m. unless something happens with my full-time job. Unless I'm working my full-time job, I'm here at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. Like I said, that's my local time, which is Eastern Standard Time. You know, I'm over on the Eastern Seaboard. I'm over in the cold weather right now. Again, I want to thank you for the contribution to the channel. Appreciate that. But the BIOS on these motherboards is getting pretty, you know, you gotta really watch what you're doing with them. And I say in the video, you know, I don't recommend updating the BIOS unless you absolutely have to. You know, if your computer's running fine, don't go update that BIOS because you can mess it up. Which is, you know, if you've been around the channel, you know, I've always recommended doing it because of the improvements. General mountain time. I'm 2 hours behind you, I think. Alright, but so it'd be 9 a.m. your time then. GMT. What is that? GMT to EST. Let's there. Well, let's flip you over here. It is saying GMT to EST be 12 p.m. is 7 a.m. Oh, they Greenwich. They're in general. Sorry, wrong time zone. General Mountain Time to EST. There we go. Yep, you're looks like you're 2 hours behind me, bud. I'm usually ice fishing this time of the year at 9 a.m. But I can talk while I'm jigging for walleye. Yep. It's a good way to kill time, buddy. It's a good way to kill time. I never actually did any ice fishing myself. I don't get cold enough around this area anymore. Now, when I was a kid, it got cold enough around this area. You go down and do some ice fishing in the river, but these winters we've been having here, it don't get cold enough to even be able to walk on the ice, let alone cut a hole through it to catch your fish. Yeah, but I did have to throw out that warning on that video because you can mess up your components if you're running an older processor. It can stop your system from running. So that'll be coming up this week. Next week, I started the filming of it. I got me a new computer chair here. If you're on Instagram or Twitter, you've seen the box of it. AK Racing. I'm going to be doing an unboxing and overview and assembly of it. It ain't really on the budget side of things, but it is, I think it's relevant to the channel. And what was it, $300 I think I paid for the chair or something. But I had to do it. My other chair that I was using was like $100 office chair, and I had it held together with ratchet straps and zip ties, and so I needed something that I didn't have to worry about falling apart on me any more than what it was already did. Which this chair seems to be pretty solid. I'm actually enjoying it. I think it's well worth the $300 if you're into looking for an office chair or a computer chair. Also this past week, I don't know if you can see it there behind me, but I did get my Corsair 4000D airflow case, and I did also, which I mentioned last week, I think it was, that I wanted to make my build into a complete white build. I did get my Asian horse extension cables. Looks like it's a 24 pin and 8 pin, and the PCI Express cables and whatnot in there from my graphics card. You know, it's been around the channel. Most of my builds has been, it's more or less performance based. I'd rather put the extra money into the performance that you get out of your system than to the way the system looks. But I'm running the 3950X. I got the 2070 Super with the X470 motherboard. You know, I got an NVMe hard drive. You know, mine ain't really a budget system anymore. And it's doing great. You know, I don't see much more updates that I need to do to it here anytime soon. Upgrades to it to actually get better performance out of it. I did put all the ARGB lights and fans and whatnot in it, which normally I don't even run. They're actually off right now. I do have the white fans. My motherboard's got the white accents on them. So it just makes sense to make a white build out of it. I don't know how I'm going to keep a white case clean in my living environment, but you know, we'll see how that happens. A friend gave me his old office chair. The thing is like 100 pounds, but sure is comfortable. It helps a lot since I have low back problems and my legs go numb after a while in a cheap chair. Yeah, that's kind of my problem too. I don't know if you've watched my backstory, but if you watch my backstory, I have leg problems myself. I got bad legs, I got bad lower back. That's why I kind of went with a more expensive chair. There's other reasons why I went with this chair, but it's kind of why I went with a little bit more expensive chair. Just because of the support of it. Like I said, I don't regret my decision on spending the $300 on a chair. I spent a lot of time in here, especially on Saturday mornings. You know, I put in between the live show, filming, editing. You know, it's nothing to put in 8, 9, 10, 12 hours in here on a Saturday. It's actually flowed over onto Sundays, usually in the morning. There's another 3 or 4 hours. There's usually 2 or 3 hours before I go to work. There's usually 2 or 3 hours after I get home from work. I'm sitting in this chair working on videos. And with the way my legs and whatnot are, my back, you know, I need a good chair that's going to give me support where I need it. The old chair, you know, like I said, it was a $100 chair. It wasn't too bad, but after every 20 minutes to half hour, I had to get up and walk and stretch. You know, this one seems I can sit here all morning long and work on videos, and I don't have that issue. You know, I can sit here for 6 or 7 hours straight, and I'll have to get up and stretch. You know, I mean, I still stretch my legs out, which in the live stream you've seen me readjust my body, you've seen me move my legs, and that's why. Which they'll never stop. You know, no matter what kind of chair I buy, it ain't gonna quite ease all of it. But this one does a lot better job of doing it than what that cheap chair did. But yeah, especially if you spend a lot of time in a chair, the way it supports you and the comfortability of it, it's definitely worth the extra money. I think I'm going to start doing more Xeon builds. Some of those old 6-core chips are holding up well these days. Yeah, I've seen quite a few people do the Xeon builds, and they are a good bang for the dollar. My biggest problem with the Xeons and some of the older processors and stuff like that is there's no upgrade path. You know, and I mean, if you're looking for a gaming computer today, or maybe in the next year or so, I think the Xeons will be alright. But if you're wanting something that's going to hold up with the standard of time, you know, with the sands of time, you want to be able to upgrade from that. You know, them Xeons kind of a dead platform. That's why I don't do a whole lot of Xeon builds. You know, a lot of the Xeon builds still run DDR3 memory. You know, they got the low clock speeds, which, because they got so many cores, and you can overclock them if you get the right motherboard with them. You know, they do make a good alternative for a gaming PC. But my big thing is there just ain't no upgrade path. Everything I try to do everything on the channel that has an upgrade path. I do have a few Intel builds on the channel. I kind of stay away from the Intel because of the upgrade path of it. You know, if you put a i5 in a system, you know, the next generation, they're usually a new motherboard. You know, there really ain't much upgrade from the i5 unless you go with the same generation of i7. You know, I kind of try to give you something that is either going to last for a while in the gaming industry, that you can still be able to play your games with, or you got an upgrade path to where you can upgrade, you know, to better CPUs, a little bit better memory, or whatever the game calls for. You know, and right now, you know, everybody says that Cyberpunk 2077 is next Crisis. You know, if you're that old, you know, Crisis 3 was one of them ones that was, you know, see if your system can run this. You know, because it was a very demanding title. Everybody says Cyberpunk 2077 is that title. I think Cyberpunk 2077 is just the iceberg of what games is going to be demanding out of your system anymore. You know, that is the new wave of Triple-A titles. And, you know, the more manufacturers make faster processors, higher core processors, makes faster graphics card, it's better, you know, you get more performance for the bang for the buck. But over the years, you know, just like always, they're going to slack off. So that's kind of why I stay away from the Xeons. I mean, you know, they are still pretty viable, you know, and they're good for a mid-range system. But you get into the higher end stuff, you want to upgrade your GPU later on down the road and whatnot, you know, you may have to do a complete build upgrade. My main rig still rocks 3600 and a 5600 XT. I'm ready for an upgrade soon. Yeah. Well, it depends on the titles that you play and the resolution that you want to play at. Truthfully, you know, I mean, if you're playing like Fortnite, Rainbow Six Siege, Division 2, you know, that 5600 is going to hold up good for 1080p game for quite some time. You want to get into AAA games, you probably are looking at an upgrade pretty soon. Actually, I was rocking the 2700 before I got the 3950X, and that CPU was doing everything I was needing it to do. Besides, when I upgraded my camera, got into 4K videos. My videos is now 4K. That 2700 was struggling with it, which it was doing it, but I wasn't happy with the time it was taking it to handle the process of editing out the videos or rendering the videos out. So I upgraded to the 3950X for the 4K. If it wasn't for the 4K, I'd still be rocking the 2700. I'd admit I mostly play Fortnite. I would upgrade just for the sake of upgrading. Yeah, I found myself doing that too. A lot of my upgrades that I've done to my system is because of my videos that I do on YouTube. Me personally, with what I do with my system, if you go back and watch my personal rig upgrade playlist, I'd be fine with the 2400G and the RX 588 gig card if it wasn't for the YouTube. But I wanted to get into streaming, so I popped it up to the 2070 Super because of the NVENC encoder. That's what I stream with. You know, even the upgrade from the 2400G to the 2700, I really wouldn't have to have done that if it wasn't for the video editing. Because the 2400G, the 4-core 8-thread was fine for what I do on a day-to-day basis with my system. You know, of course, going up to 4K video editing, I went up to 4K monitors instead of running 1080p monitors. And that's because of the channel, you know, because I did upgrade to 4K videos. I wanted to be able to edit in 4K. You know, I mean, I was fine with the 60 Hz 1080p for my personal use and my gaming needs. Besides getting into 4K video editing and 4K video, that's why I upgraded my GPU, that's why I upgraded my CPU, that's why I upgraded my monitor. you know. Yes, I can relate. I use my backup PC in the back office most for anything, and it's an i7-4771 with the RX 580. Still plays Fortnite wonderfully. Yeah, it would. The RX 580. I mean, you're playing Fortnite. I mean, hell, RX 580 will play Fortnite for quite a while to come. Actually, I've mentioned Cyberpunk 2077 quite a few times here this morning. I got it mainly for benchmarking, because everybody is saying it is the next Crisis 3. Can I play it? It is the newest Techway title out. I plan on putting out a video about the the 5600 that I've got. I think it's 5600. Hell, I don't even know what the box is to it. But I got the 5600. I'm gonna run it through its paces with that 3600 probably in the system it's in now, which is that Cougar build that was up last week on the channel. See how it runs Crisis 3. I did the stream with the 2070 Super. I want to do some content on it, how the 2070 Super, especially with ray tracing. The 2070 Super does have the ray tracing capabilities. See how it does with see what kind of performance you can get out of the 2070 Super with Cyberpunk 2077. And from the stream I did last week, which I do my videos in 4K, but I stream at 1080p. That's just because my internet where I live at, there's a big price hike in going from the speeds I got to what I need to actually be able to stream in 4K. That's why my streams at 1080p and my videos is at 4K. Just like a YouTube, I buy the games to benchmark and build things I don't need. The only difference is I don't make videos. Yeah. Someone commented quite a while back that I have a lot of tech. You look behind me, that shelf's full of tech boxes. Some of them's got parts in them, some of them's empty. Some of them's back there just for a backdrop because it is a tech channel. And I do build a lot of systems for the channel. The $600 budget gaming PC. And everything I do here on the channel comes out of pocket. I pay for everything out of pocket. I got the $600 build, which I ended up selling it. The guy I worked with, he was looking for a Christmas present for his 12-year-old boy. That $600 budget system was great for, it fitted within his budget and it do what his boy needed it to do. So I ended up selling it. The $900 gaming PC, I've still got the parts for it laying around, which is still, like I said, the processor and GPU was used in that, in the last build. Still got the case laying back there behind me. I don't know. I wouldn't have this much tech if it wasn't for the YouTube channel. I'm constantly upgrading my system just to keep up with being able to handle what the channel needs, especially with the 4K stuff and whatnot. Like I said, a lot of the upgrades I've done to my system ain't necessary. I wouldn't need 32 gigs of RAM if it wasn't for video editing. I wouldn't need the 2070 Super if it wasn't for the streaming aspect of it. I wouldn't need the 3950X if it wasn't for the 4K video editing of it. The NVMe, it just makes it nice. I got the 1TB 660p as my boot drive. It just makes it nice. I don't have to wait for my video editing software to load up or nothing like that. It just pops right up. It's real quick, it's real fast. The water cooler, I did it for content. I got the Fractal Design Celsius 28 Plus. I put it in my system. I put it in my system for the channel, for the content for the channel. I had it. It's better than what I was rocking. I had the Hyper T4 cooler on my system at the time. That all-in-one is definitely a big step up. But of course, if I need to, and of course, if I was going up to the 3950X over the 2700, I definitely needed better cooling than what that low Hyper T4 would do. I love upgrading and flipping old Dell Optiplexes. Chuck the i3 and swap in an i5 or i7. Add some RAM and an RX 570 in the PSU. Then keeps me busy. They are easy to find. Yeah, they are. I don't really do a whole lot with the used pre-built systems. I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of people doing that kind of stuff and making a decent living at it actually by flipping them by doing that. You know, the power supplies is junk, you know, which you say you change them out. And the motherboards to me, I don't know. I mean, to actually sell a system nowadays, you know, you need the looks. Everybody wants the looks. And that old green PBC, you know, PCB, it's hard to make that look pretty. Even with all the LED lights in the world, you know, RGB lights, it's just kind of hard to make that green motherboard look decent. I mean, I guess if you want to take time, you get into spray painting and this and that, or not putting a side panel on it. If you watched any of my other build videos, I got a couple build videos where I did eBay builds. Parts I bought off of eBay and this and that. And one of them I had up for sale here locally. And it wasn't in the best looking case. It didn't have tempered glass side panel. It didn't have RGB. It didn't have none of the bling to it, you know. But it was a good, solid performer. You know, and I got ate up on Facebook Marketplace because it ain't a gaming PC because it don't have a glass side panel. It don't have a RGB or RGB lighting to it. It ain't a gaming PC anymore if it don't have them two things. And neither one of them had the better performance. You know, no matter what the performance is, it's all about the bling nowadays. So yeah, it's you know, it's kind of hit and miss, you know. And it may be different in your area. You know, I live in a rural area outside of a college town. Everybody's so quick to judge. Everybody's so fast to hate on you, you know, even though the performance is there when you're trying to sell a system. You know, I sold about 40 of those in the year before COVID hit. COVID wrecked the used port market. Been tough to stay motivated. Yeah. I've mentioned that earlier, you know, the prices. I've been looking for parts to build another budget gaming PC. And, you know, the last budget gaming PC I did was the 1650 OC edition. And I looked them up this morning. They're going for $250. When I bought mine just a month and a half or so ago, it was like a $160 graphics card. I mean, it's crazy. It's nuts. And, you know, if you want to, you know, and, you know, everybody knows the 33,000 series and the 6,000 series is out. You get better better performance for the money, but you can't get them either. You know, I seen videos with the 3060s coming out instead of the 3060 Ti. You know, which looks like it's going to be right on par. You know, it's going to be a decent 1080p gaming card. You know, I've seen where the 3080, a couple companies are making 3080 hybrids, which means they got a water cooler attached to them. Why? It's going to be something else they're going to come up with that don't have no stock to them. It just don't make no sense. You know, they keep coming up with these new variants and these cards, but you can't even get the original ones. Yeah, but the COVID has definitely messed up the tech market. And of course, you know, everybody's staying home. Everybody's wanting computers. Everybody's wanting something to do. Why not get into PC gaming? Why not, you know? And yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever actually looked at the statistics, but people starting YouTube channels are starting to stream to Twitch. I mean, they're skyrocketing right now because everybody's home and bored and looking for something to do, so they're doing it, you know. Me, I've been kind of doing it for 5 years, 6 years now, on and off. I've been pretty steady for the last year and a half or so, you know. But you know, there's a lot of small channels out there that people throwing up a video just because they're bored. You know, out of boredom, they're making videos, throwing them up on YouTube. It's crazy. Everybody seems to be more broke now too, harder to sell things. Yeah, a lot of people are taking cuts in hours or even laid off from jobs. You know, I am very blessed with my job. I did have 3 weeks off when COVID first hit this area, which was back in April, I think. It really hit this area, which I could have stayed working for the 3 weeks, but I've only been at the job a little, well, at the time it was less than a year, so I didn't have no vacation, so I used that 3 weeks off to collect my unemployment and to use it as a vacation time. You know, but I'm very blessed in that area. You know, we are an essential business for what I do. So, you know, I'm still working 40, 60 hours a week, which anything over 40 to me is a little bit too much. I'd rather work only 40 hours a week and call it a week. But when you're working for somebody else, you know, you got to put in the hours that they demand of you or what they need you to be there for. I am very blessed in that aspect. You know, there is talk about them doing it again. You know, shutting everything down. Like I said, you know, I'm still going to be working most likely. We are an essential business. So, you know, I'm still going to be out there putting in my 40, 60 hours. I am blessed in that aspect. You know, my finances haven't really took a hit on this. As far as buying tech, buying computer parts, it's kind of thrown on the back burner because I'm too cheap to pay what people want. You know, the 3100 should be a $100 CPU. They're going for $176 right now. I'm not paying that for a $100 CPU. Sorry, ain't going to do it. My job has been steady as well. Industry painter are considered essential personnel, apparently. Yeah. Everything's got to look good, right? And how you make it look good, you slap up an extra layer of paint. If you wasn't aware, I'm a truck driver by trade, which I said at the beginning. You know, I make it pretty apparent that I'm a truck driver. I actually work for a warehouse here locally that is an essential, they call it an essential business because the stores that own the warehouse sell food and whatnot, so we are considered an essential business, you know, so they don't shut us down. I don't know, kind of crazy what they consider essential anymore, but still, you know, they call us essential, so we don't get the shutdowns like a lot of places do. Which, like I said, I'm blessed. You know, I work steady. You know, it is what it is. You know, I am starting to make a little bit of money off my YouTube time, which ain't much. It's gonna be, from what I'm seeing from the income from YouTube, it's gonna be quite a while before I can do it full time. But you know, as far as my steady job goes, you know, it is steady. I make decent money for the area I live in, so I can afford to, you know, pay a little bit extra money for the content for the channel and whatnot, for the parts. But still yet, I'm not going to pay 2-3 times the prices that what parts should be running. I've been hearing about some kind of truck driver strike. Bunch of guys going to do a slow roll, I guess. Yeah, you know, I've been driving trucks since 1999, I started driving truck. And the trucking industry is so big, it is so huge, you know, that's what keeps the U.S. running, you know, let alone the other countries. You know, every country's got their own trucking industry. But here in the U.S., truckers are the backbone of the U.S. They stop them trucks, America's in trouble. which, well, it's in trouble anyways. But, I've heard a bunch of, I've heard that truckers are going on strike and this and that, but I've heard that since I started driving truck. Because driving truck is one of them professions that the pay increases over the years haven't kept up with the prices of everything that they need to buy, So year after year, truck drivers keep making the same amount of money, and the price of everything else keeps going up, And I've heard this since the 90s when I started driving truck, that they're going to close down, they're going to stop, but you have so many different, they can't get all the truck drivers the same information at the same time is what I'm trying to say. To be able to stop the country or to be able to stop the trucks, it's going to be almost impossible, because you have the owner operators that own their own truck, you have the company drivers, you've got, you got the broker agents, there's a bunch of different people that have to be informed, and there's no way to actually contact all of them at one time about it. So, it's going to be kind of hard to stop all the trucks at one time. And if they would stop the trucks, it'd be within a week before the world would go crazy, or at least the U.S. would go crazy. So yeah, I don't know, something needs to happen, but I don't know if that's going to be quite possible. All right, what you guys say? We go into some Cyberpunk 2077 here. Time is it? No, it is almost noon, ain't it? Well, I think that's gonna pretty well wrap it up. I don't think I'm gonna do any gameplay today. Maybe tomorrow I'll stream some gameplay. The fiance will be getting off here soon. So I think I need to be wrapping it up for the day. See if any more questions, comments, concerns came in on the channel here, which I doubt it. Nope. Held for review. Nope. That's about it. Thanks for what you do. Trucking is very important. I hope your industry treats you well. We'll see you next time. Well, thank you, MT. Appreciate that, buddy. What games do you playing currently? Thanks for hanging out. Cheers. Well, cheers to you, Dimension. Thank you for hanging out with me. Bosterfer, I guess the way you pronounce that. What games do I play? I don't have a whole lot of games that I do play. The biggest game that I play is YouTube. Boston Reefer. Okay, Boston Reefer. My biggest game that I play is YouTube. It eats up a lot of my time. From Boston. YouTube is my biggest game. It eats up a lot of my free time. I really don't have to put a whole lot of time into anything else besides YouTube. I did buy Cyberpunk 2077, which I really enjoy that game. But I just don't have time to sit down and play it. The game before that was Borderlands 3. I really enjoy Borderlands 3. I can sit down and play that thing for hours on end too. But that's kind of them their type of games would be my main go-to. I do Fortnite, whatnot. I do CS:GO. I do stuff like that for benchmarking, but I really ain't much into those ones. So yeah. Cyberpunk 2077 would be my most current one I'm playing. Borderlands 3 was the one before that I really got into. I like to be able to spend more time into the Cyberpunk 2077, but between my full-time job, I work 40 to 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, having a life outside, Got a fiance I enjoy spending time with. I've got my own property. I own the house. I own the property. You know, it's all up to me for any upkeep. You know, I got a daughter that's 20-some years old that, you know, I try to connect with from time to time. But my biggest game right now would be YouTube. Try to grow on YouTube. That'd be my biggest game. Alright guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Cool. Thanks for sharing. Well, you're more than welcome. I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Like I said, my fiance is getting ready to get off work here. I need to get some stuff done. You have a great weekend too, Boston. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for watching the videos. MT. L-O-R-L-O-R-L-O-R. Yeah, real life. That's it, buddy. I'm going to thank y'all for hanging out with me. I want to thank y'all for the comments, questions, concerns. Thank you for the support. Thanks for watching the videos I put out. I hope you get a little bit of entertainment or some kind of educational information out of them. If you like this kind of content, make sure you go down and give me a like. If not, give me a dislike. There's that comment section down there. I'll go through them every weekend here on my live show, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. on Saturday morning, just like I did today. Also, there's that little subscribe button down there, that notification bell. That way you're informed next time I go live or I put out a video here on YouTube. If you're also interested, I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. I don't kill your inbox, but I do put up photos of stuff that I've got coming in. They'll give you an idea what's coming up on the channel. And if there's anything going on with the live stream, if I got canceled or changed the time, that's where you also get that information. With all that being said, you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, or whenever you're watching this. You have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream.